The last thing is I'll talk just really quickly about some of the panoramas I've shot, because transparency is a really dynamic thing. Transparency doesn't have to only mean like, here's the documents we used, or here's a view from the convention. Here's the documents we used, or here's like how we got to the end of the story. Transparency can also be done, I think, through things like photography. And so what this is our best attempt. I went to the Democratic Convention and the Republic Convention, and I shot these 360 panoramas. And what's really incredible about these 360 panoramas is they do a wonderful job of putting you in a place that A, you never would be able to get the opportunity to be in, or B, there was a moment where something really incredible happened there, and that moment's never going to happen again. And so this is kind of an interesting one of those moments.
My hero and my mother, Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton.
So this is when Hillary Clinton was introduced at the Democratic Convention. I did these for another one for Barack Obama, Sarah Palin, and John McCain. But what I think is really cool about these 360 interactives is that they let you look anywhere you want. Literally anywhere you want. You can look all the way up at the ceiling, you can look all the way down at the ground, you can look at this guy over here on his phone, he doesn't care. You can look over at the photographers. This is what I mean by it was like super intense, right? Like, look at these photographers, man. Look at these guys. This guy's going crazy. It's really dark out there, I see. So I won't look at the dark spots. But there's all this interesting thing. And if you think about the way you usually see photographs in a newspaper, photographs online, right? All those photographs are framed by the photographer. All of those photographs, they're choosing what they want to show you. And that's good. I'm not saying there's any problem with that. But before you even get a chance to look at that photograph, they've already decided what they want you to look at. With something like these interactive 360 panoramas, I'm trying to be as transparent as I can and say, like, look, if you were standing right there, this is really what it looked like. You can turn around and look at whatever you want. I'm not going to frame something for you. I'm not going to say, like, I'm not going to take one shot of the convention and be like, that's what it was like to be at the convention. Because that's not really what it was like to be at the convention. If you were at the convention, you'd be able to turn around and look around, and you'd hear what it sounded like, and you'd see what people were doing and things like that. So transparency, like, this is what I mean by when you hear an idea, you should push it further. Transparency can be throughout mediums. It doesn't have to be just look at the documents. It doesn't have to be just like, here's a huge database, check us and see if we're wrong. It can be, here's a huge photograph, look anywhere you want. Here's a video, control it, rewind it, do whatever you want with it. Like, you can stretch transparency in all kinds of different ways. But I really think it's like going to be a bridge to the next stage of journalism. Is that the next one? Yeah, innovation. Okay, so innovation is what I think makes this one of the best times in journalism. It's so fun. It's so interesting. You can basically do whatever you want. All the time over there at the New York Times, I'm like, I have this crazy idea. And they're like, really? I've never heard of that. And I'm like, yeah, that's because the internet wasn't around 10 years ago and it's never been done. You know, like, let's give it a shot. And it's an incredibly creative and innovative atmosphere that's fostered by Andrew. It's fostered by my boss, Jim Roberts. It's fostered by John Landman. It goes directly to Bill Keller, Jill Abramson, directly to the top. All of them are encouraging and try to explicitly get us to push it. Let's see what's next. Let's see what's going on. And what's fun about innovation is it's hard for somebody to be like, no, that's the wrong way to innovate. It's like, really? You know, how could this be wrong? It's the first time I did it. Like, it's a good excuse for you to be like, that's not wrong. It's just the first time. Like, somebody else might do it a different way. The caveat there is if you have poor usability or poor design or whatever, like, there can be a wrong way to innovate. That's just what I want to make clear. Most of the time, you cannot have a wrong, innovative idea. You can have poor execution of that idea, but as far as an innovative idea, you're generally not going to be wrong with that. Go ahead and try it. Put it out there. Throw it at the wall. See what sticks. I've had plenty of ideas slide slowly down the wall into a pile of junk at the bottom, and they still sit over there at my desk, never to be picked up again. But there are a lot of ideas that stick to the wall, and people come along and they're like, holy cow, that's art. And I'm like, really? I just thought that was crap I threw against the wall. And they're like, no, that really works well. That really communicates to me. And so that's where like projects like these come out of, you know? It's like, well, this is how I see it. The internet, none of you look at the internet the way I look at the internet. Each one of you, and none of you look at the internet the way your dad does, or your mom does, or everybody. So like, but that's not to say that there aren't people who are interested in looking at something the same way you look at it, right? It might not be everybody. It might not be the person sitting next to you, but there most likely are people on the internet who do like it. So take that idea in your mind and give it a shot. Give it a try, see if you like it, and see if other people like respond to it. There's things on prototype.nytimes.com which are just these kind of ideas. Like they're ideas that, look, everybody might not want to browse the internet. Prototype. Oh, good. Well, see, represents on it. Everybody might not care about that. Is it Skimmer? Article Skimmer. So here's another app that, look, everybody doesn't want to read the front page of the New York Times the way we present the front page of the New York Times, right? So one of our developers, not somebody in the newsroom, not somebody in the editorial line, said, I want to be able to really quickly be able to skim by section or by homepage or by section front. And so you can go into these different sections and he'll load it up, and this is just a really neat way for you to skim through and check out the different articles. Like, again, it's transparent. There's no editorial layout. There's no us telling you what we think should be the most important story. It's just a different, interesting, innovative way to try to look at the news. And so I have no idea if this will ever move off Prototype or if it's happy being there, but that's another way to do it. Along with innovation, like, comes failure sometimes. And so I'm going to show you a project that I think succeeded in a lot of ways, and in a lot of ways it failed, I think. But there's a project that you might have seen called Gauging Your Distraction. Right now we're doing a long series of the New York Times called Driven to Distraction, which is about how dangerous it is to text message and drive, how dangerous it is to talk on your phone while you're driving, or to do these different types of things. Glenn Cramon, who's the features editor, or Enterprise or features editor, I can't remember, came to us and asked us, like, we're doing this project, texting while driving is really complicated, what can you do to try to show that? So Tom Jackson and I, over the course of just about a week and a half, sat down and we said, well, we can make a driving game, right? Where all of a sudden a cell phone pops out and you have to text in the cell phone while you try to go through these booths. And like, look, the point of the game is that it's not possible to do these things, right? But the game kind of fell down in a couple ways. Let me play the game for you really quickly, and I think you'll be able to see how the game kind of falls down. So as you can see, there's these different lanes that you're supposed to go to. Now, right away, you can look at this. Is this anything like driving? And that's where most of the criticisms for this game come from, is like, oh my God, I can't believe that you guys think this is at all like texting and driving. If I had to change lanes that quick, I'd be dead anyways. Like, if I had to go through that many toll booths, I'd kill myself on the way to work. And so yes, that's true, and maybe that was a flaw of us for like trying to even make it a driving game. But really the point is, like, as soon as you get this text comes up, and you go over here and you're trying to read this text, and then all of a sudden you're trying to put in Spam-A-Lot, and all of a sudden I'm missing Gates, and so you can see what we're trying to do, and like you can try to send back garbage, and it's like, huh? I didn't get that. Like, I don't understand you. And so people are like, they write us and they say, I would never send full word answers. I always only type half the word on my keyboard, And so sure, you can like get it. You can needle this in all kinds of different ways, in that it's not realistic. Or I would type first by doing one instead of typing first. But I would say the majority, probably like 70% of the users understood like what we were trying to get at, right? They understood that like, and at the end, I'm not going to play it all the way through, but after you successfully respond to 3 sets of text, at the end we show you a chart. And the chart shows you how your delay, your reaction time slowed down while you were texting and going through gates while you're texting.